Hello there, you're watching World News from Indonesia's Pioneer News channel, Metro TV. I'm Edwin Tintin, and here are the main stories today. Nearly 6 million eligible voters in Haiti on Sunday chose 119 deputies and 20 senators from more than 1,800 candidates registered from different political parties. But the vote has been marked by violence and delays. If successful, Sunday's elections would be a major step for Haiti toward reclaiming its sovereignty. For most farms, manure is a pungent problem. Nevertheless, a family-run American farm invested in a biogas recovery system which transforms feces and other waste into electricity. But first, a stampede at a temple in eastern India during a Hindu religious festival left at least 11 pilgrims dead and dozens injured on Monday. Thousands of people tried to force their way into the temple when its gates opened at daybreak in Deoghar, a town in Jharkhand state. 8 women were among the dead. During the incident, tens of thousands of people were participating in a month-long festival at the temple of Shiva, one of the main deities of Hinduism. But first, a power plant operator in southern Japan restarted a nuclear reactor on Tuesday. This is the first power plant to begin operating under new safety requirements following the Fukushima disaster. The restarting process went as planned and without any problems. The restart marks Japan's return to nuclear energy after the 2011 meltdowns at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant triggered by an earthquake and tsunami. Meanwhile, dozens of anti-nuclear activists held a protest outside the Sendai plant. The former Japanese Prime Minister Naoto Kan addressed the crowd. He was in the office at the time of the Fukushima disaster and has become an outspoken critic of nuclear power. Now let's take a look at what the weather will be like across the world today. Jakarta and London will see a dry but cloudy day. Singapore and Tokyo rainy, while Beijing will have a sunny day. Families of those killed in the Monday evening blast at the popular Hindu shrine in the Thai capital were among those praying there as it reopened. The explosion killed 22 people, including 11 foreigners, and injured more than 120 other people. VOA's correspondent Steve Herman reports from the Erawan Shrine in Bangkok. Since the first quake on April 25th, thousands of Nepalese face a daunting future after suffering loss of limbs, spinal, and other permanent injuries in the twin quakes that claimed more than 8,700 lives. Brazilian President Dilma Rousseff faces increasing calls to be impeached after another politician was accused of taking bribes for awarding major construction contracts. Kimberly Hackett from Al Jazeera shares the story. Now let's take a look at what the weather will be like across the world today. All major cities will have a dry but cloudy day, except Singapore, which will be rainy. Coming up next, the world's leading experts in artificial intelligence gather in Argentina to discuss the future of autonomous robots. And people in east coast of Madagascar celebrates the comeback of the humpback whales. You're back on World News. Japan's trade deficit narrowed 92% last month as exports of automobiles pick up, while a tremendously high energy import bill continues to fall. Finance Minister data showed on Thursday the country's trade deficit came in $556 million, plunging 92% from a $6.73 billion deficit a year ago. In June, the value of imports jumped 9.5%, while imports were down 2.9%. The data showed Japan's exports to the key North American market were up 16.9% over the first half of the year. 5.1% to European Union countries, while exports to China rose a less robust 2.2% since January. Meanwhile, Asia-Pacific green markets were mixed on Thursday, with Tokyo, Hong Kong, and Shanghai on the green, Sydney down, while Seoul was flat. In Southeast Asia, markets were weak, with Jakarta and Singapore losing slightly. South Asia's beacon market Mumbai lost almost 0.5% at the closing. The Indonesian government announced that the country's inflation in July was 0.93%. The July inflation soared from the previous months, but unchanged from the same month last year, bringing the total inflation to 1.9% in the first 7 months of 2015. The Central Bureau of Statistics, BPS, said an increase in transportation costs and food commodity prices were the major contributors to the inflation in July. The Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs, Sofyan Jalil, pointed out that the country's inflation was still well under control. In his visit to Indonesia, British Prime Minister David Cameron not only focused on international issues, but also bilateral business. He said the UK will support and assist Indonesia in becoming the 10th largest economy by 2030. I filed this report.
The need for international support.
Accompanied by a trade delegation of 31 business leaders, British Prime Minister David Cameron chose Indonesia as the first country he visits outside Europe since being re-elected last May. During a business forum in Jakarta, Cameron emphasized that the cooperation between the two countries should be further developed, including in infrastructure development. In addition, Britain will invest $1.55 billion to finance infrastructure projects in Indonesia through its export guarantee scheme. This funding is believed to pave the way for the growth of exports worth $311 million to the UK.
I brought with me today architects, planners, consultants, engineers, builders, and of course in JCB the people who can provide the equipment. So we offer that end-to-end planning, we offer that design expertise, we offer the expertise in public-private partnerships. All of this, I would stress, with a safety record that is amongst the best in the world in construction.
Indonesian Vice President Yusuf Kala responded positively and hoped that the investment could be diversified. Kala added the cooperation would benefit both countries.
I hope that the involvement of British investor in Indonesia infrastructure development will not only significantly increase trade and investment between our two countries, but also strengthening our overall strategic partnership.
The United Kingdom is one of the largest investors in Indonesia. In the first quarter of 2015, UK has materialized investment worth $424 million in this Southeast Asian country. The prototype installation of the world's first robotic kitchen represents the way as real chefs would cook dinner. The idea came up with one futuristic idea that all kitchens one day would be operated with robotic arms. Arik Baisley from Al Jazeera shares the story. Another humanoid robot was revealed in Shanghai, China. It can impersonate humans' body movements and even singing. The humanoid robot Android was developed by Japanese university researchers and produced by a Chinese company. The appearance of the humanoid robot named Yan Yan is based on the actual appearance of the CEO of the Chinese company. Its surface is covered with silicone film, and the robot is moved by compressed air-powered cylinders to make natural face expressions. The humanoid robot sang a Chinese song, moving its hand at the ceremony. Coming up next, we will go to Sydney, Australia to see a 1.8 meters tall atlas. And the remake of the 1960s TV show, The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Your tracker's not sending a signal.
Do you want to check it?
Be my guest.
What are you doing down there? Trying not to get lost.
I'll turn it on now.
You're still watching World News. Children in South Africa's townships dream of breaking race barrier into the national rugby team despite the challenges posed by poverty. In South Africa, rugby is still linked to wealth, but as this sports academy in Khayelitsha, a new initiative is trying to introduce the sport to a new audience. Some of these young players dream of one day getting their Springbok colors. The government has also set a target that by 2019, half of the Springbok team should be players of color. A polar bear has given birth to twin cubs at an aquarium in East China's Shandong province. The cubs were born at Quancheng Polar Ocean World. They weigh 750 grams and 666 grams at birth. The tiny cubs, who have yet to be named, are expected to make their public debut in about 2 months. The pair are now being taken care of in an incubator, and both are in good condition. In our top entertainment news, Ant-Man Paul Rudd gets a star on the Hollywood Hall of Fame. Jennifer Lawrence and Josh Hutcherson attend the opening of the Hunger Games exhibition in New York, United States, and we take a sneak peek of the remake of the spy-fi action comedy, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I'm Edwin Tintin. Thank you so much for watching, and we wish you a pleasant night.
On Wednesday, actor Paul Rudd received a star at the Hollywood Hall of Fame in Los Angeles, USA. His Ant-Man co-star Michael Douglas and fellow actor Adam Scott also attended the celebration.
Emotional.
Jennifer Lawrence reunited with her Hunger Games co-star Josh Hutcherson in New York, USA, Tuesday to celebrate the opening of a new exhibition dedicated to the films. The exhibition features costumes, props, and set recreations from the hit franchise and will be set up at the Discovery Times Square for 6 months.
You told me this was going to be a simple extraction.
Inspired by the 1960s TV show, The Man from U.N.C.L.E. is set in the early 1960s during the Cold War. The old-time spy film was directed by Guy Ritchie and stars Henry Cavill, Armie Hammer, Elizabeth Debicki, Alicia Vikander, and Hugh Grant. The film will be hitting U.S. theaters mid-August.
With an atom bomb.
We have no choice but to work together on this.
America teaming up with Russia. That doesn't sound very friendly.
We'll leave you two to get acquainted.
I'll let you tag along, but it's in and out, no mess, and we both forget about it in the morning.
This is not the Russian way.
You ought to investigate Victoria Vinciguerra.
They will send an army to stop us.
We must give them an appropriate welcome.
It's better for the mission that we get to know each other a little bit more intimately.
What does that mean?
It means I like my woman strong.
So you want to wrestle?
No, I did not say that.
Hold on, cowboy!
For a special agent, you're not having a very special day, are you?
So sorry I can't stay to finish you off myself.
Your tracker's not sending a signal.
Do you want to check it?
Be my guest.
What are you doing down there?
Trying not to get lost.
I'll turn it on now.
Let's finish this.
Think a little messy. Absolutely hate working with you, Pearl.
You're a terrible spy, cowboy.